Look closely at the whistle. Notice the deafening silence from the veteran enforcers. Team USA Women's Basketball had just completed their FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup qualifiers run, but the tournament's most explosive revelation didn't come from the players. It came from the referees. Lock the doors, silence your notifications, and give your full attention, because what follows will shatter the carefully constructed illusion of the WNBA establishment. Imagine this. The international governing body of basketball, almost by accident, exposed the single most coordinated, systemic act of sabotage in professional sports history. Objective, mathematically verifiable officiating overseas proves, without question, that WNBA referees have been operating under a political mandate to suppress the most dominant offensive force the game has ever seen. Mainstream sports networks, heavily subsidized journalists, and compromised league executives want this conversation buried. They hope you accept the corporate storyline without scrutiny, but you aren't a casual fan. You can read raw, unfiltered tape. This isn't about stylistic differences in refereeing. It's a globally televised exposure of a corporate crime ring, orchestrated by a frightened, insecure veteran establishment desperate to maintain the last remnants of economic influence. Don't be fooled by polished PR statements for a second. During Caitlin Clark's rookie season, the narrative forced on us was that she simply needed to adjust to the game's physicality, that flagrant fouls, blindside hits, and nightly physical assaults were rites of passage. The referees? They swallowed their whistles. They allowed legacy veterans to bully and batter her under the guise of letting her play. This was a meticulously coordinated, fully documented campaign of physical intimidation aimed at breaking her psychological will, and every second is captured on tape. The WNBA was not ready for Caitlin Clark. Flushed face, she dribbles past everyone, pulls up from deep, defenders frozen, crowd gasping. Swish. Another insane moment leaving the league stunned. Fire basketball. Caitlin Clark shocks the WNBA. Face screaming in fear, she pulls up from way beyond the arc, defenders frozen, the crowd holding its breath. Swish. Another unreal moment that leaves the entire league stunned. Fire basketball.
Because the FIBA referees put them on notice, pretty much let them be known. We ain't doing what y'all would be doing in the WNBA. So, quite frankly, the FIBA referees set the tone for how a game Caitlin Clark playing in should.
At this moment, FIBA functions as a truly impartial international authority, entirely insulated from the internal politics, fragile egos, and tenure-driven dynamics of the WNBA veteran establishment, because their referees are tasked solely with enforcing the core rules of basketball without bias or agenda. And when Caitlin Clark took the court on the global stage, the impact was immediate and undeniable. Illegal contact vanished, aggressive off-ball hits ceased, and the officiating consistently protected skill and offensive flow, which allowed Clark to dominate the tournament in a way that exposed the limitations of politically influenced domestic suppression, culminating in her well-earned MVP and demonstrating that, when objective standards are applied, she is arguably the single most unguardable and high-impact player in the sport today. And this unfiltered clarity also cast the domestic league's shortcomings into sharp relief, revealing a system resistant to maximizing its own superstar, while simultaneously the ripple effects intersected with league business, as the MVP news coincided with a historic verbal agreement on the new CBA in New York. Yet even amid these structural changes, the veteran leadership, with figures like Breanna Stewart at the forefront, rushed to control the narrative, underscoring a tone-deaf persistence of entitlement, leaving the optics unmistakable and signaling that while contractual frameworks evolve, the cultural and hierarchical dynamics of the league remain a highly visible tension point. Caitlin Clark breaks records again. Basketball, she fires from way downtown, defenders stunned, the ball drops perfectly through. Another historic moment shaking the WNBA. Fire face screaming in fear. WNBA fans are losing it. Fire Caitlin Clark drives past everyone, pulls up from way downtown, and launches a shot nobody saw coming, defenders frozen, crowd on their feet, the ball hits nothing but net. Another unbelievable play that has the entire league talking. Face screaming in fear basketball.
Not finalized yet, so don't want to get too specific into details, but knowing that this new CBA is going to be historic. It's going to create generational success between players of all levels, and really
Listen closely to the sheer, unapologetic hubris in that proclamation. Historic, generational achievement, they call it. Step back and dissect the glaring absence of real business savvy in this brazen claim. The veteran stars, the same individuals who spent months trying to suppress Caitlin Clark in media narratives, the same ones who relied on domestic officiating inconsistencies to physically. History clearly shows they spent years undermining the very engine that created this opportunity. Caitlin Clark shocks the WNBA. Face screaming in fear, she pulls up from way beyond the arc, defenders frozen, the crowd holding its breath. Swish. Another unreal moment that leaves the entire league stunned. Fire basketball. WNBA fans are losing it over Caitlin Clark. Fire step back, deep shot, nothing but net. Everyone can't stop replaying this insane play. Flushed face basketball.
and really be in a space where we're in collaboration with the WNBA. You know, we are now a part of a rev share system, and we are going to see the fruits of our labor.
Pause and really let that hit, the raw, unfiltered delusion seeping from that statement. The fruits of our labor. Think about it. For nearly 30 years, the WNBA operated under an outdated, subsidy-heavy financial model, scraping for TV revenue, struggling for attention in the crowded U.S. sports market, filling arenas only sporadically, posting minimal ratings, and surviving largely on bailouts from the NBA. Then came a generational force from Iowa, Caitlin Clark. She broke collegiate viewership records, sold out arenas wherever she played, transformed merchandise and sponsorship opportunities, drove global interest, and compelled multinational networks to renegotiate contracts for a multi-billion-dollar media rights deal. Every spike in revenue, every salary cap increase, every luxury flight, effectively the Caitlin Clark economic stimulus. And yet, Breanna Stewart and the veteran hierarchy stare into cameras and claim this financial surge as their work. It's a brazen, politically manipulated hijacking of her revolutionary impact. The delusion escalates further as they absurdly, mathematically incorrectly assert they were the catalyst for the new CBA. This isn't mere arrogance, it's panic from an entrenched hierarchy fully aware their dominance is ending, scrambling to claim credit for a revolution they never initiated. The entire arena just went silent, then exploded. Astonished face Caitlin Clark pulled off a jaw-dropping play that left the WNBA crowd completely stunned. WNBA fans are losing it. Fire Caitlin Clark drives past everyone, pulls up from way downtown, and launches a shot nobody saw coming, defenders frozen, crowd on their feet, the ball hits nothing but net. Another unbelievable play that has the entire league talking. Face screaming in fear basketball. Caitlin Clark breaks records again. Basketball, she fires from way downtown, defenders stunned, the ball drops perfectly through. Another historic moment shaking the WNBA.
WNBA, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, what we could take from Unrivaled was just the way that players were treated and how we had a standard to make sure that everybody had access to everything that they needed to build their basketball, build their game in a way.
This response reads as hyperbolic theater masquerading as economic insight, absurdly casting Caitlin Clark as a singular macroeconomic engine while ignoring decades of league infrastructure, veteran contributions, structural revenue streams, and the legal realities of collective bargaining. Assertions that she funded the CBA or dictates league economics conflate individual on-court dominance with systemic market power, mathematically and logically impossible. The narrative cherry-picks metrics, exaggerates influence, and rewrites history to elevate ego while vilifying the veteran guard, treating isolated games and press conferences as global financial pivots. It disregards structural constraints, inflates drama with militaristic, emotionally charged language, and constructs a logically incoherent spectacle. In short, It exemplifies cognitive bias, overgeneralization, and theatrical storytelling designed to provoke outrage and clicks rather than provide accurate, reasoned analysis. The WNBA was not ready for Caitlin Clark. Flushed face, she dribbles past everyone, pulls up from deep, defenders frozen, crowd gasping. Swish. Another insane moment leaving the league stunned. Fire basketball. Caitlin Clark shocks the WNBA. Face screaming in fear, she pulls up from way beyond the arc, defenders frozen, the crowd holding its breath. Swish. Another unreal moment that leaves the entire league stunned. Fire basketball. WNBA fans are losing it. Fire. Caitlin Clark drives past everyone, pulls up from way downtown, and launches a shot nobody saw coming, defenders frozen, crowd on their feet, the ball hits nothing but net. Another unbelievable play that has the entire league talking. Face screaming in fear basketball. Caitlin Clark breaks records again. Basketball, she fires from way downtown, defenders stunned, the ball drops perfectly through. Another historic moment shaking the WNBA.